Hey y'all, I know it's been forever since I've uploaded a video, but from the title of this video, you can see that I've been a little busy lately, okay? A little busy. So please forgive my absence. I'm back and I have a lot to share with you, as you can see from the title of this video, and I promise you, this is not clickbait, okay? This actually happened to us, all right? This actually happened. It's a true story, I promise you. So let's go ahead and get into the good stuff, because I know that's why you clicked on this video. You want the tea on how all this went down and what actually happened to our house. And I am here to tell you the truth, not clickbait. Of course, like I mentioned before, I wish it was clickbait. I wish it was a joke. I wish it was a lie, but it's not. It actually happened. So here we go. So this is going to be a two-part video because there's a lot to cover. And then also I want to talk about how we were able to actually get money from the insurance company after all this went down. And I want to give you guys some tips on how to make sure that you can actually get money from the insurance company if you have a situation like this where you're getting like a home repair done and your insurance is paying for it, or someone else's insurance is paying for it. So stay tuned for the second part of this video, because it's going to be a lot. It's going to be very long. But let's go ahead and get into it. So it all started at the beginning of this year, of 2022, literally like the second day, maybe the third, maybe the fourth day, but the first week of the year, all right? So we started 2022 with a bang. So what happened was we have an internet company, right? And our internet company was going to send someone over to install fiber optic internet, all right? So they're gonna like upgrade us to fiber optics. No big deal, right? So the guy comes to our house one morning and starts doing his thing. So he's outside doing whatever he's got to do. And then he comes inside of our house and goes upstairs and works in the attic, all right? So at this time, my husband and I were at home. I'm working from home. My husband's off of work, and we're in the kitchen making breakfast, making coffee, you know, the whole deal. When all of a sudden we hear a loud thump from upstairs, and we're like, what the heck was that? And then the guy starts running. We start hearing like footsteps coming from upstairs, downstairs, right? And he's running frantically. And he's like, all of a sudden he's like, there's water everywhere. And we're like, what? My husband knew immediately what it was, and he starts to cuss. My husband does not cuss, but he was cussing. He was pissed. It just happened in like an instant. And I'm like still in shock. So my husband and this guy run. They start running around the house. They go outside the house and they're running. What they're doing is they're trying to find the water main for the house to shut it off. Mind you, our house is not even at this point 2 years old yet. We just bought it in 2020, like the summer of 2020. So we don't know where things are. You know, there's still some things that we don't know about the house, especially not like where the line to the water is. So they're outside trying to figure this out. Meanwhile, I'm inside, okay? And I'm hearing the sound of water from upstairs, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I decide to walk up the stairs. And as I'm walking up the stairs, I'm hearing a waterfall, the sound of cascading water, which is rather peaceful, but definitely not supposed to be inside of your house. So I didn't even get up to the top stairs, because I was just like, you know what? I don't even want to see this. I don't want to witness this with my eyes, because I already know what's happening here. And I go downstairs and I'm like, and I realize what's going on. And so finally, after like literally maybe 10 minutes of them trying to figure out where the valve for the water is, they finally found it in the garage of all places. So they turn it off, okay? At this point in time, I'm seeing water dripping from the first floor, okay? Our foyer area, okay? Like our front door area, coming from the ceiling. And it's just water coming down, and it's dripping down to the floor. And it's going down the sides of the walls. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it's also coming through the vents of our house, okay? And I'm like, this is not even happening. I'm in a state of shock. I'm shocked at this point. Like, what is going on? How did this happen? So everything's, you know, like they turned off the water, and the guy comes inside and my husband at this point is just like, he's kind of almost cussing the guy out. Like, where did they find you from? Like, what the heck? And my husband asks him, he's like, when did you start working for this company? And the guy tells us last week, and he's like, oh, are you kidding me? So they send a rookie to my house to sit here and ruin my house when he's all he's supposed to be doing is just installing fiber optic internet. But what is going on? So the guy's like, oh, well, you know, no, I've been in this industry for like 30 years. And then we're like, that doesn't make it any better, fool. How do you make this, how does this happen? So what happened was the dude, our attic is it's small. It's a very tight, compact kind of situation going on. And what the guy had to do was he had to like crawl underneath like some pipes, some water pipes, to install what he was trying to install. But when he was trying to come out of the crawl space, he was crawling out of the crawl space, but he did not clear the pipe. So when he rose up, when he rose his to get up, his back hit the pipe, the main water pipe, and he broke it. He broke the pipe. So that's what happened. He broke it with his own body, his back. And so at this point, it's just crazy. Like I'm thinking about crying. Like I feel like I need to cry, but I'm like, I felt stupid for crying. It's like, dude, this is just a house. It's just a material possession, you know? Why are you crying? What are you gonna cry for? But it was almost like I was in a state of shock. It's like I couldn't believe that this was happening. And so, you know, my husband is going off on this dude, and he's like, the guy's like, well, you know, mistakes happen. And we're like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? At this point, there's water everywhere in our house, from upstairs, especially upstairs. Water's going into our master bedroom from the vents, also the ceilings, okay? Water is in our master bedroom closet. It's gonna be ruining our clothes if we took our clothes out, okay? So it's going all down the walls. It's in our laundry room, coming from the ceiling and coming from the vents. It's in one of our other bedrooms, coming from the vents. Thank God I didn't go into my actual office, because I had, like, you know, computers and stuff inside of there, so that would have been really bad. And then it's also going downstairs, which is the kicker. It's going into our garage, and it ruined the ceiling of our garage. Okay, the ceiling of our garage was water stained. It's just water all everywhere on the ceiling, and it was coming down from the walls and, you know, the floors and everything. And then of course our first floor. All right. And he's like, oh, mistakes happen. And I'm like, oh really? So we're like, okay, well, you're gonna have to pay, period. So, and he does. That's the good part about it, is that he didn't have a problem with, he had to come out of his own pocket to hire a plumber right then and there to go into the attic and fix the pipe that he busted. And then he's like bragging about how much liability insurance he has. He's like, oh, you know, don't worry, I have like a $2 million policy. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, good. Thank you for telling me that. Thank you for telling me that. So the good thing is that he didn't have a problem working with his insurance company to get this stuff fixed. So that part happened. Okay, it was a little bit of a complicated process. Because I was trying to explain to my husband that we don't use, I've worked in insurance for a very long time, so I understand how all this works, and you don't ever want to contact your insurance company for something that wasn't your fault, okay? Because that would be, even if you don't end up going through with the claim, that claim is going to still be filed in their system. They're going to still have record of that claim, and it could affect your premiums going forward. So I didn't want him to do that, but he went and did it without me knowing. So at that point I was like, just stop it. Don't go over any further, because his insurance company is going to handle it. Our insurance company doesn't even need to know anything about it. So we work with the insurance company to get everything situated, right? Okay. So this is where things get interesting. So after like a couple of weeks of living with the house being, you know, destroyed from the water issue, we finally figure out who we're going to get, like a contractor to come and fix our home. So we decided to go ahead and find someone ourselves, and we used like a system that the insurance company kind of provided for us. It's like this almost like it's not really, I wouldn't call it a job board, but it's kind of like Angie's List, but only for insurance companies. And you can like choose someone from that list of people. So we went ahead and went with a contracting company, and then they came over and they gave us a quote, right? So they looked at all the damage that was done, and they gave us an itemized quote for how much it was going to cost for everything to be fixed. Remember I told you it was our upstairs master bedroom, our hallway, our laundry room, one of our other rooms, our garage. Like the whole ceiling of the garage needed to be replaced. The whole ceiling. Okay, it was like a flooding. It was like an actual flood, but only it wasn't an actual natural flood. It was someone else. It was someone flooding our house. from the top down. So good thing is it wasn't from the bottom up, because some people's, you know, if you flip the bottoms up, that means a lot of your items get destroyed, like your furniture and things like that. So good thing is none of that happened, but it was just construction type stuff, like the construction of our house, the floors, the walls, the ceilings, and things like that. So they came and they gave us a quote. They walked around the house and they gave us a quote on all the things that we're going to do. And when the contractor does this, they give you an itemized quote of every single little thing that they're going to be able to do for you. So we get, before that actually happened, we actually had to get another company come through and dry up all the water that was in our walls, on our floors, ceilings, everywhere, because otherwise if they don't do that, then it'll mold, and that's terrible for, you know, you can't live in mold. So that company had to come and they had to dry up all of the water. Now this process was very interesting. So what they had to do was they cut off a lot of different rooms with a thing of plastic, and they kind of like they tape the plastic on the ceilings and on the floors so that no air can get through, and only the air from the fans that they had, these industrial strength fans, can get through in that one area, so that it could really absorb the, you know, the air of the fan and you know, dry out that area. So it was all around our house. We had to like, and then there was like a zipper that you can kind of like unzip if you had to go through in a different room or whatever. So anyway, that was like all throughout our house. And the problem is that there was like, we probably had like 5 different industrial strength fans all around our house, bottom floor and then top floor as well, and in our bedroom, our master bedroom. These things are super loud, and they had to run 24 hours a day for at least 3 days straight. 3 days straight. So we were literally in the midst of the sound of just, I mean, it was so loud throughout our whole house for 3 days. We couldn't even hear ourselves think. We couldn't even talk. We couldn't even hear ourselves talk. We had to like yell over everything. We couldn't even, and honestly at this point I regret not doing this, but I really wish we would have contacted the insurance company at that point to get a hotel, to stay in a hotel. We did later, but not for that reason. Because we were living in hell for 3 full days of just loud fans just going off, and then having to sleep through this too was like, why didn't we get a hotel during this? I don't understand this. We really should have done that, but anyway, that was a terrible experience. It was terrible. So, okay, so then that happened. So the water was dried out, and so now we have the other contracting company to come through and do the material fixes on the house. What was gonna happen with our house was pretty much almost a full home reconstruction. A full home reconstruction, almost. The only thing that didn't have to be fixed was like our kitchen. Thank God that wasn't affected. But our floors, our walls, our ceilings, and then the ceilings in the garage actually needed to be completely taken out and put new ceilings in. Our wall in our master closet had to be taken out and put back in, and then all of our floors needed to be redone as well. So we had really good wood floors when we bought this house. It came with really nice wood floors. That was one of my favorite parts of the house, and they had to be completely taken out and then replaced. Now here's the caveat to that. The contractor had an insurance policy. I forgot the technical name, but what it means basically is that the insurance company will pay for the damages done, but only up to the amount of depreciation of the things that they're going to replace. So basically what it means is they're not going to replace the item at its initial value. They're going to replace it at the value that it is now after depreciation, depending on whatever that item is. For instance, floors. Flooring is considered it depreciates a lot because you're walking on it all the time, right? So when you get new wood floors installed, it's going to depreciate in value throughout the years because you're tracking your feet on it, you're walking on it, and it's not going to be at its initial value. Okay, you see what I'm trying to say? So because it's been used a lot. So they weren't going to, even though they're going to replace our floors, they're not going to replace the types of floors that we had because the value of the floors have depreciated over the years. So what they're going to do is they're going to replace it with a lower value floor that equals the amount that it would cost now at this moment in time after years of wear and tear. So that sucks, because for an issue that happened, for a catastrophic event that happened that was no fault of our own, okay, we have to settle with lesser value items in our home because his insurance doesn't cover the cost of the initial value of the things that we needed to get replaced. Now, the good thing is that it was, like I said, we didn't have any furniture that got damaged or anything like that. But, you know, we had to deal with just, it kind of just didn't feel good. You know, like, this is not our fault. This is not a situation that was our fault to begin with. And now we're having to settle for, like, what? I didn't ask for this. Like, I was happy with the floors that we had. Our floors were nice. They were actually wood, genuine wood floor. And so, and, you know, but we had to settle with. So now what we have is we have a wood, and it's similar in color, but it's one of those laminate woods. So it looks cheap, you know. So that sucks. But just know that there's insurance. That's how insurance companies get over on you. Because, yeah, we're going to replace your items, of course, sure. But they don't talk to you about that one little caveat that says basically, yeah, your item might have been $8,000 when you first got, you know, purchased it, but now it's depreciated to only $3,000 because of all the years of wear and tear, or for whatever reason, you know. So they can, and it's kind of arbitrary as well. So, because I'm like, how do you determine like what percentage of depreciation has occurred every year, you know, when it comes to wood floors? Like, you don't know how many people were living in this house before we bought it. It could have just been one person, in which case that person probably wasn't walking everywhere all the time on the floors. You know, the floors would probably last a lot longer if there's just one person living in the house as opposed to like 10 people, right? And then what if these people don't wear shoes in the house? Like, we don't. We put our shoes, we put our shoes in the front when we first walk in the door. We don't wear shoes in the house. We wear slippers. That helps to sustain the value of the floors. So how are you making this determination? They're not. It's arbitrary because I don't want to pay the money, okay? So another thing, another annoying part of this process, mind you, this took about 3 months. We weren't fully done with our home construction until March. And remember, this all happened in January. Because remember, they didn't even start working on our house until like 3 weeks after the event took place. So it took a long time for things to start moving, and for the insurance company, for them to give us an okay on the quote, and then for people to start coming in and doing their thing. So during this process, we're getting like all sorts of people in our house. Okay, every day there's a new person. There's like, every day there's at least 3 people in our house doing different things. Knocking on stuff, wood and painting things and all kind of stuff. It's loud, it's annoying. I work from home, so I'm hearing people just everywhere, and it's just so annoying. But here's the thing that's the most annoying part about having contractors, a lot of them in your house, different ones. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know, because you can't be everywhere at once, especially if you don't work from home like I do. You're literally somewhere else while they're in your home all day, 8 hours a day for a month. Okay, so there was a time where we had this one incident where one of the contractors ended up breaking our garage door. Okay, breaking our garage door. How did this happen? Well, the person was pressing the button, and instead of waiting to hear it start to work, if you guys own a house and you have a garage door, you know what I mean. Sometimes they're rinky-dink. They're kind of like, you know, so you got to just press it once and then see what happens. He would just press it, tick, 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 just pressing it, and the garage would you know, stutter and stuff, because he was just too impatient to wait on it to go down or to go up. And at one point, my husband actually had told him, like, hey dude, why do you keep pressing the garage like that? You're gonna break it. Just be patient and press it once, and then wait for it to do what it needs to do. So this was around a time where I actually had to go away for work, and so I wasn't home. But my husband was home at the time. Okay, he has really weird hours for his job, so he was at home. Good thing, while the contractors were in the garage doing something. They were like, I think they were like mixing paint or whatever. And so one of the contractors ended up somehow breaking the garage door. I think what happened was there was something that was underneath the door. And when he pressed close, it kind of connected with it. Good thing it wasn't a huge break, but either way it broke. Now, my husband, they didn't tell my husband that this happened. He had to find out later on that day while they were still there that it wasn't working. So if my husband wasn't there, or he didn't realize what had happened that same day, they would have probably not even told us anything. And then if we would have complained about the fact that our garage door broke, they probably would have said we did it or something, you know? So it's like, wow. So what happened was, good thing, my husband immediately called their boss and was like, yo, one of your people broke our garage door. You're gonna have to pay for that. So that's just an example of all the different things, mishaps that had happened in our house, like all kinds of stuff. You know, people were draining paint down our sinks in our bathroom. Paint? No, you don't do that. You can like clog the drain. You can ruin our pipes that way. You see? So all these people just in our house just carelessly using our things and doing, it was just such a headache to have this going on. And we had to be there, you know, during this process. Of course we had to be there because we wanted to make sure that they didn't break anything else. So that was the part, so that was the construction, okay? That was the whole home construction experience. There was a lot more to it, but that was, you know, I'm trying to give you like some details here and there, but that was the gist of it. So it took about, you know, a few months or a couple of months to get everything really finished. Now let me go into part 2, and I'm going to talk about how we were able to get money from the insurance company during this process because of what the contractors tried to do. They tried to scam us, but we ended up being able to come out on top after all the pain and suffering that we had to experience. So if you want to hear about how we were able to do this, and then also how you too can get money from the insurance company if something like this were to happen to you in your home or any situation that you're in, then stick around for part 2. I'm going to be uploading it this week, so just stick around. Thanks for watching.